Hello FlossTube and welcome back. This is Ros Clark here at Ros Clark Craft on YouTube. You'll also find me as Ros Clark Craft on Etsy and on Instagram. And today is the end of the second week of Advent. It is Saturday the 14th. Is that right? It's day 14 of Advent. Maybe it's the 13th. I think it's the 13th of December. It is day 14 of Advent, which began on the 30th of November this year. So I'm opening day 14s. What have I got to show you? I've got a little bit of my Advent calendars, updates on my Advent stitching and a giveaway. And I thought I would show you this time things I have finished this year. And it turns out it's not very much. It's not very much. I've not done a lot of stitching this year. And I did sort of know that. But even I was quite shocked when I picked it up. So I've brought some non-cross-stitch things to show you that I've done as well, to show you that I've not just been doing nothing. But it's not a lot. It's really not. Okay, so let's start Advent calendar. I'm not going to show you, I haven't got with me the chocolate Advent calendar. It's been chocolate every day. It's been great. The pictures continue to be very pleasing. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll maybe put a photo there. I'm trying to not edit these videos at all, so I'm not going to promise to put a picture in, but I will have pictures on my Instagram feed. And similarly, my Advent jigsaw is coming along. I haven't got a photo of that, but I'll maybe put one on Instagram. It's a jigsaw of lots of knitting and crochet in kind of rainbow colours. I'm really enjoying it, opening a bit every day. Like I say, you can buy Advent calendar jigsaws these days. They tend to be like a little square of the thing each day. But my friend who puts it together for me, so obviously she does the jigsaw and then divides it up, and she doesn't just do it in little bits per bag, but they do always build up on what you've got there before, mostly. So that's been really fun. I've been enjoying doing that every day. I've been keeping up with my Advent devotional pretty much every day. I think I did miss one day, but that's fine. So that's all good. And then I've got my tea Advent calendar, this beautiful, beautiful calendar from Fortnum & Masons. I'm just enjoying having this on display, to be honest. It's so pretty. And so I've been drinking. Let me give you a little update of what I've had. Day 8 was Assam TGFOP. I had to Google that. It stands for something like tippy, golden, flowery, orange pekoe. And it's meant to indicate the sort of highest quality of orange pekoe. I don't love Assam. I did make it and I did drink it. I brewed it for less time than they suggest. I find Assam too strong and too rich for me. I think if you're someone who loves, you know, a really strong builder's tea and you want something a bit fancy, Assam is the one you want to go for. But it's not really my favourite. Day 9, we had Christmas plum, apple and cinnamon infusion. I'm doing a lot better with the infusions than I thought I might. I enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah, it really tasted of apple and cinnamon. I'm not sure I could taste a lot of the plum, but the plum obviously gives it a lovely colour in the thing. So I enjoyed that. 10 was Countess Grey. So Countess Grey, I've had before. I think Lady Grey must be a trademark of Twinings, because other brands of tea manufacturers have something that is like a Lady Grey, but then they never call it Lady Grey. So it's essentially an Earl Grey with the bergamot and the, you know, the really light, delicate flavour that I do love, with added citrus notes, and that gives you the Lady Grey or the Countess Grey or whatever. I did brew that one for too long. It was fine and I drank it, but yeah, that was my fault. But I do like a Countess Grey. I'm not sure I like it as much, to be honest. I really like both the Marks and Spencers and the Waitrose equivalents, which I think are Empress Grey and Marquis Grey. I can't remember which way around. But if you're interested in something Lady Greyish, those are what I would recommend. Now day 11. Day 11 was Moroccan Mint. And I'm going to show you. Can we see this? I have not even opened the thing. I don't like mint tea. So when I was in Morocco, I did drink some mint tea. And it was okay. Some of it was better than others. It was okay. And it's sort of in the moment, and it's made fresh, and it is what it is. I don't like mint tea. So I just don't think I'm going to drink that one. I'm like, I could, but I don't know what the point of that would be to prove that I don't like mint tea, I think. Day 12, however, pomegranate and rose infusion. I love pomegranate. I love rose. I love a rose flavoured tea. I really enjoyed that infusion as well. I would actually buy that again. I enjoyed it that much that I really would buy that again. Day 13, yesterday, I had black tea with vanilla. I didn't love it. It was okay. It didn't taste terribly vanilla-y. You know, the difference between something that's got a kind of vanilla essence and a vanilla extract. To me, it tasted a bit more like essence than extract. And in the notes, it says it's supposed to be quite creamy, and they recommend you have it without milk. I always have milk with black tea, so I did put milk in. And you could taste the creaminess, but I just think I'd have preferred it without the vanilla. So it was all right. But I wouldn't rush to have that one again. Now, today, we've got something called Toffalosus infusion. Now, Fortnum & Mason do a brand of biscuit called Toffalosus, and I'm just going to read this from the back. Yes, this is a light tea time treat. This delicious infusion delivers caramel and chocolate notes inspired by Fortnum's Toffalosus biscuit. Now, it's a rooibos. I don't honestly know that I've had rooibos before. I might have done. It's not something I would normally go for. Yeah, I don't quite know why, but it's mostly of that, if I want tea, I want it to taste of tea. But I have to say, this smells incredible. I might not like rooibos, but I definitely like caramel and chocolate. I just feel, however, and this is my thing with infusions, the better they smell, the greater the potential disappointment. It's a bit hot. I will have a sip later on in the video and let you know how I get on with it. But I am enjoying it. It's making me try things I wouldn't otherwise have tried. I'm enjoying some things I'm surprised about. I'm not enjoying some of them. There's only the mint that I haven't drunk at all. And I think probably I will try and drink everything else. And I might try the mint at some point, but I'm not going to promise that I will. So I would definitely get this calendar again. And like I say, I just love the way it looks. So that's been good. Other adventing, advent stitching. I have a finish. I know. It's very exciting, isn't it? So this is Nativity Tiny Town in my colours on my choice of fabric, which is this Murano Pale Pink Splash from Zweigart. A little bit Christmassy, a little bit sort of snowflakey maybe. I don't know how much that will show when I make the whole thing up, but yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I really enjoy this. I did make one other change to the chart as well as the colours, and I'm going to show you. It's on the stable seam. Well, I slightly changed the shape of the stable just because I was lazy and didn't want to do as much stitching. But also around the baby Jesus, there's this sort of extra bit here, and I wasn't really sure whether it was meant to be straw or a halo, but I decided to make mine a halo. And I don't know if you can see. I'm just going to hide and hopefully it might focus. I did it in sort of long stitches, long straight stitches, rather than cross stitches to kind of give a halo effect. I don't know if it really works. I also gave Mary and Joseph noses because they're from the Middle East and I figured they would have noses. But I didn't do a whole lot else with the characters. Anyway, I'm really pleased with it. I wanted to show it you now because hopefully by next Advent video, I will have that fully finished. Fully finishing is on my to-do list, possibly today, but certainly over the next week or so. So I'm really pleased to have finished that. But I've also made good progress on my other Advent stitching projects. So you remember this is sort of an adaptation of Sweetheart Hill by Plum Street Samplers. The man and the woman and these flowers and the heart and this thing are all from that sampler. On her thing, there's a huge great house over here, but I'm not doing the house because it needs to be this sort of size to fit in with the pages of my Song of Songs book. So I've worked it out. I sort of charted out what shape this bit was going to be, and then I've charted the saying, which currently says, I have come to my garden, my sister, and it's going to have another line and it will say my bride. And that is from Song of Songs, I think it's chapter 5 verse 1. I will check that before I stitch that in. And then I've charted it's going to have a whole lot of flowers around that. There are flowers in the hill on the original design, but they're not going to fit now that I've got my lettering in there. And you can see I've put in these little leaf shapes in among. So the whole thing will look quite gardeny. There are more flowers to go up on the sides here, and those will be from the Sweetheart Hill pattern. The other change I did make, and I can't remember whether I'd done this last week to show you or not, I think I might have done, I did make my man and women just slightly less weirdly shaped. But yeah, I think I maybe had done that and showed you last week. So that's coming along really nicely. And I think now that's the only Advent stitching I've got every day, I'm much more confident that I am going to get that done during Advent. And I'm really enjoying doing it. So that's been lovely. So I think that's all my Advent things to show you. So I am just going to show you other things I've stitched and made this year. So the first piece of stitching in 2025 was this. And as you see, it is yet not fully finished, although I have now got the frame for it and it's on my list of things to fully finish, hopefully very shortly. This is Dream of a Winter Garden by Modern Folk Embroidery. You can see I changed the colours slightly. That's slightly more turquoisey shades in this one, whereas the original is much more just sort of straightforward greens. Sarah of Sew Me Sarah and Sally of Stitchy Sally were doing a stitch along for this at the beginning of the year, and I had already started mine the year before, but I hadn't got much of a start. I'd done a little bit of this top border and I'm like, right, that is the motivation I need to get it out and get it finished. I was stitching this in a Vera Soie. This, I don't know what this linen is. It might be a Zweigart Platinum, I think maybe. Might be 40 count, might be 36 count, something like that. But anyway, I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I really like this and I do want to get it on my wall shortly. So I stitched that. But really what I was doing at the beginning of this year was a lot of craft kits. I was really exhausted at the beginning of this year. I really wasn't very well. I couldn't do a lot of thinking. And so craft kits filled a really nice gap in the market. So I'd bought this one some years previously. There we go, let's go there. I need to move it in the frame actually. It's not really got the hanger at the top. That's how it should look. This is a kit from Corinne Lapierre. It's felt applique, but much more, you can see, much more delicate than some of the felt applique kits that you see from other brands. There's also some embroidery on it as well. I really enjoyed making that. Mine is not, you'll be shocked to hear, a precise copy of the original, but I do really like it. So that was a nice thing to do. And yeah, the thing with the felt applique, it's not complicated. It's really not. If you've never done embroidery before, you can do this. You really can. And I do love the style of Corinne Lapierre's kits. She has a lot of things that are 3D felt, but she also has some like this that are two-dimensional designs. So I did that. I think this might have been from Hawthorne Crafts. I can't quite remember. It's a printed fabric that you do embroidery around. And once again, I don't think I did my embroidery exactly as charted. I seem to have got something spilt on it. I'm not sure I'm going to have this up for much longer. I've got another thing that I'm going to put where I have been displaying this. But it was nice. I quite enjoyed it. This is from Wattle and Loop in Australia. And this is a really fun style of essentially applique with raw edges showing, and there's lots of different kinds of fabric in there. There's bits of ribbons and shiny things, and there's some beads, and there's some stitching, and they send you a pack with all the little bits of fabric and the template, and you can kind of just have fun with it. So I'm not absolutely sure I love how mine turned out. I feel like this was always a bit too orange, whereas figs are really pink, I think, inside. But I enjoyed doing it. I definitely enjoyed doing it. Yeah, and that was a fun kit. And then, oh no, not quite the last of the kits. This is a needle felting kit. This might be Hawthorne Crafts too, or instead, or somewhere else, can't remember. If you're really interested in knowing where any of these kits come from, let me know and I'll check. Needle felting, I've done it before. I've never been brilliant at it, but I was quite pleased with how this turned out. Super easy craft to do. It's literally just stabbing. You lay out the fleece where you think you want it, and then you just stab. If you don't like it, you can pull it off. If you do like it, you can always just stab more. If you want the delicate details, you can stab more and more and more. Really satisfying to do. I don't know. I think what I might quite like is needle felting with hand embroidery on top, but I don't think I'm going to on that because it's just a bit brown. But the otters are sweet. This was a little kit. This was a Hobbycraft sort of, I don't know, $2.99, $1.99, something like that. Wonder Woman, small kit. Not that straightforward, not that beginner friendly, I would say. Quite a lot of half stitches and quarter stitches and the outlining and all of that. It's quite fun though. I think that is probably just going to end up in my cross stitch journal. I can't quite see what else I would do with that. Yeah, but you know, cute little cross stitch kit. Wonder Woman. Sorry. And then I've got another kit actually. This is of a very different nature. Some of you will remember if you watch my Floss Tube regularly or my Instagram feed, I went to Paris this year in April for my birthday. I went on an organised craft holiday with a company that I've been with before for very different kinds of trips. Creativeexperiences.com is what they're called, and I really recommend them if you're looking for lovely craft holidays. But this was just 2 nights in Paris. 2 nights, 3 nights? 3 nights, 2 full days. And on one of those days, we went to Versailles and we went to the Sajou shop. And one of the things I bought was a kit, as you can see, the Sajou, oh, upside down, that way, Sajou, Fabrique en France. And this was what you made, the little top for this tin. And the patterns are largely taken, inspiration taken from fabrics in Marie Antoinette's chambers at Versailles. This is a small kit. It was not a small stitch. Again, there's a lot of back stitching, quarter stitching, half stitching, layered stitching. So like on the pineapple, you do the red and the yellow and then you go back in with different red and add on to it. So you get really a lot of depth in a very small amount of space. I mean, it's beautiful. It is really beautiful. I would not want to stitch a large cross stitch piece in this sort of style. But I'm glad to have done this one and have that as a little memento of the trip. It is really beautiful. And if you're someone who's thinking, oh, those look so lovely, you can buy these online. They come in various styles. I really recommend it. The tin comes plain, but you get this sticker to put around, and different designs have different stickers that I liked, the stripy one, obviously. So those were some kits. I've got one other non-cross stitch piece to show you. This was something, I started this in my textile art class, which is no longer, and then finished it. So we did jelly printing on squares of fabric, which I then joined together and did hand freeform embroidery. And all the embroidery is done with one skein of variegated floss from Threadworks in these kind of rainbow colours. And I just had enormous fun putting random things. The little covered buttons, they were from a embellishment pack I'd bought a little while previously from XG Designs, because I wanted the Rit Rack and the pom-pom, but the buttons just work perfectly for this. So you can see this is some of the jelly printing that I've outlined, and I have it on the back as well. I folded it in half and put this lace trim, which was also from the XG design pack. So that hides the seam, but it also then acts as the tie when I store it rolled up. It's incredibly tactile and it's just really fun to play with. And it's one of those things that, yeah, it started out not quite knowing where it was going, and it kind of just developed and developed and became something I really, really enjoy. So you can see I've got to the end, and then I've got one of the little buttons is placed here, so I can wrap my lace around. In fact, let's do that better. Wrap my lace around and end by just putting it over the thing, and that holds it in place. So that's really one of my very favorite things I made this year, and that just sits on my little table in a little bowl. Right, I have two other stitching things to show you. There are two other things I did stitch that I don't have to show you. One was for the Smalls Exchange at Stitch in London, and one was a gift for Sew Me Sarah at Stitch in London, who also ended up getting my Smalls Exchange. So she went home with two of my stitch pieces. I did talk about those at some point, and Sarah also talked about those. If you want to check out Sarah's post Stitch in London recap video, that's probably the best place to see those. So those two things I did stitch. I also stitched this. I won this in a giveaway from Mama Loves You GB. This was one of the Cotton and Twine subscription boxes from earlier in the year. Lots of people were doing this as a stitch along. It's an Emma Congdon design, which I really liked, and Michelle very kindly sent me the whole box, which came with, you know, sweeties and floss and the fabric, and I feel like there's always something that's a little extra in those boxes, and I can't quite remember what that was in this box. But anyway, it was a nice box, and I really enjoyed stitching this. What I did do, I think she had some little kind of doobly Watsits, and I added sequins to mine because they make me even happier. So this is the one, I need to put this in a hoop to finish it. And the reason I haven't got around to it is because Sarah, again, of Sewing Sarah, she did that, but she'd wrapped her hoop in some fabric, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I quite often paint hoops, but I'd like to wrap my hoop, so I need to find some fabric. I'm not buying fabric, I have got fabric, but I need to find the right fabric, wrap the hoop, and then I can fully finish this. It's on the list, and then that's going to go up in the place where I have had Today I Choose Joy. And then finally, I did one of my fireworks series. So I released 4 patterns for Bonfire Night this year. Remember, Bonfire Night. Can't remember what the other one was called. Anyway, you'll find them all in my Etsy shop. And this was called Fireworks. And so, I mean, you could obviously stitch this for any time of the year that you might have fireworks. I really enjoyed doing this. I did it on a dark blue fabric. You could also do it on a black fabric. Oh, that's upside down. This is the right way around. I was trying to work out what's this bit here, but it says whiz. And we've got oohs and ahs, and we've got a rocket and a sparkler and a Roman candle, and we've got a big bang. And yeah, I really enjoyed stitching this, actually. It wasn't and a Catherine wheel here. It wasn't the easiest thing to design, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Yeah, all my long stitches are getting a little bit wonky. It's because it's been folded up. Anyway, do your long stitches better than mine. But I just think it does give very much the atmosphere of a firework display, which is what I wanted. So you can check that out in my Etsy shop along with my other Bonfire Night designs. Maybe you might want to stitch fireworks for New Year, or fireworks for the 4th of July, or just because you like fireworks. Whatever you want to do is fine. So that is all the stitching I have to show you. It's really not very much, is it? In terms of cross stitch pieces, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you count my Nativity Tiny Town, 2 from Stitch in London, so that's 8. And let's say 1 more in hope that I'm going to finish Sweetheart Hill. That'll be 9 pieces finished this year, and none of them are huge. Really, really not. Quite a lot of them are very small. There's not been a lot of stitching this year. Anyway, that's what I've got this week. Next week I will be back with some more updates on my Advent, and I will be talking about I even be talking about Christmas? I know, but I think I might be. All right, see you then. Okay, I wasn't going to edit this. It is now much later in the day and I've remembered quite a lot of things I meant to say in the video earlier. So I'm not going to do all of them now. I found another 3 things that I did stitch in 2026. I'll mention those next week. I forgot to tell you about the tea. I drank the tea, I had a little sip before I added any honey, and that really wasn't nice, about as disappointing as tea can be. I did add some honey and it was okay. I would say it tasted more caramel than chocolate, despite having cocoa nibs in it and smelling chocolatey. I couldn't really taste the chocolate. It is not one I will rush for again, but it was okay. But the main thing I did want to mention, and this is why I'm recording again, is I am going to do a giveaway of the Nativity Tiny Town chart. So there's already a giveaway running of my Blessed Needle chart. You can see that on my first Advent video. And if you want to be in with a chance of entering that, you need to leave a comment on that video using the word blessed or blessed. If you'd like to win Nativity Tiny Town, then you need to leave a comment on this video using the word stable. Okay, stable. It's obviously a used chart. It was already secondhand. This came from Sew Me Sarah at Stitch in London, but it's in perfectly good condition. You do not get, obviously, the 2 little star charms for putting on the front. I just sewed in extra of the stitch stars in those places and it looks absolutely fine. I was just looking to see, but it doesn't actually come with instructions about making up into the drum, so you have to work that out for yourself. It is not a hard thing to stitch, 176 wide, but it is only 30 stitches high. I really enjoyed stitching that. If you'd like to win this, use the word stable. I obviously did my own colours entirely. You could check out Sew Me Sarah's video. She stitched it in the called for DMC, but wasn't that thrilled with the colours, and I know she changed at least one of them. So if you're going to stitch it in DMC, do go and check out her video, or you might want to use the fancy floss as well. So that's all I had to say. I'll see you next week.